Discover exciting places to visit. Explore your community. Learn about new cultures. Meet fascinating people. Find the exotic. There are hidden treasures wherever you go. Travel, learn, take a day trip in your city, or hike in a rainforest. There's so much to see and share. What are you waiting for? Go on a journey. Welcome to On a Journey. I'm Paul Prado. Make sure to check out each video that goes with our podcast on our YouTube channel, Paul Prado Photography on a Journey. Welcome to Paul Prado on a Journey. I'm Paul Prado, and today's journey takes us down Highway 101 North from Southern California. We are at the beautiful Mission San Miguel Arcangel facility. It's one of the oldest missions in the mission line of 21 missions. It's a 16th mission. It's been established by the Franciscans in 1797. I know missions are a topic of controversy, but let's see what historic significance and some of the architecture and some of the things that we can discover here at San Miguel. I've always wanted to visit it, and here we are. It's an overcast day, a little bit chilly. We just came from the inland where it's nice and toasty warm at 80 degrees. It's now a crisp 60 degrees. So let's go on inside and see what we can find. I'm at the base of the bell tower here. There's a bell tower here that we're going to look at in just a second. Went to the sign, and now we're having this plaque here, and it's significant because it's World War II. The church was established in 1797, and this is in memory of a father, a priest, who fought in World War II against the enemy in Europe. And here it is. It says, United States Navy chaplain killed in action, World War II. So despite the controversy of what we're dealing with missions, here we have a gentleman who fought for the United States of America. So let's take a look at the tower. Here's the tower that I've just been talking to you about. It's got 5 bells in it. It's got the architecture of your traditional mission that you would probably see in 4th grade, way back when, or even right now when you're in 4th grade. So we're going to look at the adobe and some of the structure and see how folks lived here. Sweet. Isn't this beautiful? Isn't this awesome? Take a trip down 101. Probably going to say that a few times on the video, but I think it's well worth the drive. This is adobe. You can see that it's mud if I really force this. Oh, I didn't. But there's moss growing on this adobe here. If you see the tower back there, you can see that it's been patched up. We've got adobe shingles here. You can see this so the water can flow through, and underneath you've got adobe. So you have different colored, I'm sure they use different red clay and different adobe to construct this wall. If you pan right here, you can tell that this moss and this biomatter is original. You can see the carved, handmade. It has to be handmade. There's no way this is prefabricated. I'm sure they have brackets where they put the adobe in, the mud, the clay, they let it set, they let it cure, and then they dyed it with certain materials. From my understanding, adobe a lot of times is made with pieces of glass or grass, dried grass, and other materials so that it would stay intact to endure the weather and the elements. This is just beautiful, just beautiful. There's a mass going on right now. The church is significant today as it was hundreds of years ago. Cactus, obviously. Prickly pears. The fruit is called prickly pear. I'm Mexican American, and for some of us, this is part of our diet. It provides, I'm sure it provided great sustenance for the folks back in the 1700s, 1500s, and earlier, as it still does today in 2017. A lot of water is retained in the leaves. You chop it up finely and just make it nice small pieces. It's got a chewy consistency, has a lot of vitamin E, a lot of vitamin C, and the prickly pears are so delicious. I see these ovens, and so can you tell me about those?
This is a replica of a beehive oven that was actually used. And when you go through the tour, you'll go through the kitchen. There is an actual beehive oven that was used.
And what did they use the beehive oven?
To make breads, all different foods.
Did they treat pottery or ceramic in there?
I think it was for food only.
Mostly for food. And then I see that this is an olive press.
Olive press, yes.
So do you guys make your own olive oil here?
We don't anymore. We used to.
You did?
We did when we had the Franciscan friars here. So, but now we don't do it anymore.
And how long ago, do you know how long?
A year ago, they left a year ago.
A year ago.
Uh-huh.
So up to a year ago, they made olive oil
We had
here.
Franciscans here. They
Franciscans.
made olive oil. They did grape stomps for wine.
Grape stomps.
Yes. They did a little bit of gardening.
Okay.
They got elderly as time
Right,
went on, so
right.
they stopped doing a lot of it as time went on, but
Right.
they just couldn't do the mission anymore. So
Well, I'm excited to go check out
check out the frescoes.
my little self-guided tour,
Yes, yes.
so I could offer it to my listeners and my viewers.
Right.
A self-guided tour for $5.
Right.
Okay, and then the money goes to the church for
For
whatever.
For upkeep.
For upkeep.
Right. It's a
All
big
right.
mission.
And so do you have docents here?
We do not.
No
We have
docents.
one docent. She lives across the street. She does the school children
Uh-huh.
if she's available, but other than that, it's all self-guided. So.
Great. Well, and I forgot your name.
Teresa.
Teresa Paul.
Nice to meet you, Paul.
meeting you, and thank you for your time.
Thank you, and
Oh,
thank you for continuing to spread this.
Here's a shot of the church, obviously, and the significance of these 5 photos of the Franciscan friars that we're here. We just heard from Teresa that they did the olive press, they did the grape stomps, and they provided services at the Mass. And we have one more Franciscan friar here, and his name is?
Pedro Umana.
Pedro Omana. So if you come on down to Mission San Miguel Arcangel, Pedro Omana, Padre, come on down. And did they do services in Spanish?
We do.
So we do 2 services in Spanish here as well. So if you want a nice historic Mass, listen. The angels have arrived. We're on our way to our self-guided tour of Mission San Miguel Arcangel. Let's see what's inside.
This room is the Salinan Indian room. So our native peoples have done this room themselves. They provided all the artifacts for this room. And one of the most recent artifacts is that canoe there. They recently rowed that canoe out at Morro Bay to meet a replica ship as they would have done in mission days. And after that ride was over, they brought the canoe to us. But they actually rowed in it, and in this booklet here, it'll show you them riding in that actual canoe.
So if you could pan right here, this was taken in 2017 or 2016?
2017.
So 2017, Salinan Indians, Native Americans, from this area, from this mission, rowed in this canoe to greet this ship as they would back in the days of the missions. And obviously the ship is a replica. But here you have living history. It's fantastic. You have an abalone shell that's in the front and the bow of the boat. You have the sticks. Here is a spearhead, an oar that probably works as an oar and a spear. You have it on both ends. This is obviously, it's like a kayak. This is like a kayak. So you can see that it accommodates 2 people, not too comfortably well, but it served its purpose for hundreds of years. Wouldn't it be wonderful to tell our ancestors, thank you for caring enough to come. Thank you for not forgetting us. Our small group of people who are just part of many are dedicated to acknowledging the history while preserving Native American culture. We would like to take this time to thank you for sharing with us. So as we learned, this was done by the Salinan Indians, and a lot of the artifacts in here, the animal skins, the kayak with a canoe, the buck that is up on the wall, the mortars here to grind their meal. We've got a whole photographic display of how they made their meal. There are many pictures and charts to describe to you how life was here with the Salinan Indians and how the mission has this display to preserve their history. You've got elderberry clapper sticks. We know that certain Native Americans have palm seeds in their gourds. These have clapper sticks. They slap across the hand to create a rhythm. Rattlesnake kelp bulb. Salinan musical instruments. So we all live with the rhythm of existence, and how we share that existence with each other, to me, is pretty important. The diverse cultures that we have here in California make the Golden State a beautiful place. So let's look around some more to see what we can find. A trough, you say? If you're listening to the podcast, we're looking at a trough, a rectangular prism that looks like it's been hollowed out in two sections. A longer rectangular piece and a smaller one in the back that's almost a perfect square. It's obviously handmade, and I'm holding a very heavy stick with a round cylindrical base. And this is a wash tub. You can hear how solid the trough is, and you can see that it's made of solid wood. According to the sign that's by this trough here at Mission San Miguel, it's made out of one piece of lumber, and it's a wash basin. They wash clothes in it. I'm assuming that the longer section was for washing and the back section was for rinsing. This is just one more way that life was like here in the mission. Tallow, the fat from animals, it's a byproduct to make candles and soap. And here we have a system of where candles are made here at Mission San Miguel. It's a ring. It's got 2, 4, 6, 8, a dozen candles suspended with string. And there's a winch to pull up and bring down the candles in the string into the tallow down below in the cast iron container. No electricity. So many times, in recent times, Native Americans have not had their voice shared with the mission system, with the creation of California, with the development of the West. So here at Mission San Miguel, it says, the Salinan people are continuing their goal of reconstructing their language and culture and documenting their social and political structure for historical purposes. It's their hope that in time they will be able to recapture and share more fully the history of an ancient and proud, self-sufficient people who have survived in spite of adversities. This sentiment seems to resonate throughout the state of California. Very resilient people all along the coast, the Central Coast, within California, all the tribes within California. So here's an effort to maintain the integrity and the culture of the Salinan Native Americans. Original frescoes. These are all minerals, cobalt. They come from Mexico, throughout California and other areas. They put them and they grind them and they make them and put them in abalone shells. This is just beautiful. You can see they've got this little pattern here. They've got the green. You can tell, you can see the imperfections. It's just beautiful art. We're going to look all around to see more of it. This mission, Mission San Miguel Arcangel, is significant. This is a plaque dedicated in 2011 by the Native Daughters of the Golden West. They're preserving the historical places of California. It tells again the establishment of the mission and what happened in 2003 when it closed and it reopened and it's been retrofitted, the church. So It's one more way to preserve California's rich history. Let's go see some more. We got webs. We got a lot of fun here. Here's a, it's supposed to look period piece, but it's not. It talks about how wheat was grown here, and eventually in the late 1700s, 4,700 bushels of wheat were harvested here in 1800. This is the first tract to do this in this area, by the Salinan Indians, Native Americans, and out here in the mission. Before panning out here, these are the different apparatus. This is a yoke. You've got a grinding wheel and another yoke. You've got your pitchfork. Wow. Wowzers. You're not going to find this at a hardware store, I tell you that. And this has probably stood over 200 years, if not easily 100 plus. And it's still pretty durable. I'm holding a pitchfork if you're listening to the podcast, and we're looking at different products and apparatus that were used to harvest the 4,700 bushels of wheat, and I'm sure a lot more wheat as time went on. We've got another harness over here, another yoke. You can hear that. Boy, it is pretty durable, and I'm sure if you did a little WD-40, it would work a little better. More yokes. This looks like original tile, original ceramic. We have a sickle here. This isn't from Father Time. This is to take care of the ag business here. So this is a huge destination for agriculture. This is part of the California's breadbasket for food. And we'll just do a quick pan down here and you see more yokes. So here's an image here of an ox cart drawn by animals. Drawn, if you're not familiar, they pull it. Such as horses, mules, or oxen. 5th millennium BC, way back. Let's go see some more. Let's go into the cavern, subterranean exploring. That was a modern sign. Oh, here we go. Here is the beehive oven that she talked about. It's an actual, no chimney, only a small hole in the back. I am looking at a beehive-shaped, conical, totally ceramic oven that bread and meat was placed on the floor like pizza handles. There was no pizza here in 1797. The top air hole and the front opening were sealed, and bread and meat were cooked in there. I don't think that bread's 200 years old, so I'm not even going to try to taste it. So we've got, oh, here are the discs over here. Whoa, this is pretty sturdy. This is a pretty sturdy paddle. You've got this almost 6-foot paddle because you do not want to stick your arms in that oven, that's for certain. And ouch, that's pretty sturdy. And it's still here today. Beehive oven. For once, I feel 6 foot because I actually have to duck my head to get in this doorway, which is probably, as you can see, only 5'7". If you listen to the podcast, I'm in a tiny doorway. Had to have the comedy, man. We're in the dining area, a facsimile thereof. You've got the tattered walls, the parched adobe walls that were painted. You have wooden benches here, wooden utensils. I see ceramic plates. I don't know if that's accurate, but you've got chairs with legs, but they've got connectors to each leg, so everything's really, really sturdy. You've got archways, and you've got cutouts where you would put your pantry, your dishes. Obviously, an extremely uneven floor here of adobe bricks, so you would probably be very mindful of your steps. True that. I'm looking at, if you pan down, if you're watching the video, there are 2 letters here from 1794. The letters are written in Spanish, and it's written by a priest writing a letter to the King of Spain, and he's talking about Father Ventura Sitjar, S-I-T-J-A-R, the founding father of Mission San Miguel. It says here in a letter from 1794 that he's a bit of a rebel. We hear a lot of controversy about the missions and the Native Americans and the whole thing, all the controversy that surrounds that particular topic. But this particular priest, not only does he speak with the Indians in their own language, but also is in the habit of teaching them doctrine in their own language. So he is a man of these people. He's learning from them. They're learning from him. And it sounds like he is not a proponent of conquering people. He seems to be more of a proponent of the people. He was modernizing them and teaching them Spanish and not following the ways of the King of Spain. So when you come to this particular mission, if you miss this letter, then you'll miss a big chunk of this history. You have artifacts from the priest. You see their garb. You see facsimiles of how they were dressed. You see the crosses and the different ornate things that riches and people that took domination over another people, what they gained and what they brought here. But here you have Father Buenaventura was a person of the people according to this letter in 1794. I'm sure there's more history on him. I'm going to look into it more, and maybe we'll share more about it later in another podcast and another video. So here's to Mission San Miguel. Breaking my voice there. I've always wanted to do that, and now I've done it on video and podcast. This is a beautiful Gregorian chant. Single line music written on parchment paper. This particular one, according to the sign below, is written on calfskin. I'm not a musical person. I'm a drummer. I sing, but I don't read notes. But I do love Gregorian chants. So if you come here and you can sing, and you could carry a tune and a suitcase, you could maybe try your hand at this. Def dies latice quo beatus dominicus alium coleafitis quae Siotran magnificos dixi paper en peculio divis vati pura paper tatis preatio selitenet. Not bad. I could read it. Don't know what I'm reading, and I hope it's appropriate. But you could come here, Mission San Miguel Arcangel. Speaking of Mission San Miguel Arcangel, there he is. Behind me is a wooden polychrome statue of San Miguel, Saint Michael. If you're the Catholic faith, you have all these saints. Okay, some religions, they don't pray to statues. In the Catholic religion, you have all the apostles, all the saints, and this is Saint Michael, San Miguel, the namesake of this mission. What's significant, if you pan down on the camera, you can see that the devil is at the base. So Saint Michael, or San Miguel, has great significance because he is the conqueror of the devil. This particular statue was donated by Raymond Gould in the 1940s. On his list of things for those people to inherit, he wanted this statue to be here in perpetuity so that everybody can enjoy this. This was significant to him. This was brought from Spain, and this has been here since the 1940s. So it's a really significant piece of religious history, California history, world history, to be represented here at Mission San Miguel off Highway 101 North. If you blink, you'll miss the exit. The Franciscans here modernized the Salinan Indians. They modernized them. They didn't want to colonize them. They empowered them. Everybody shared their skills. As we've walked around here, we saw the architecture, we saw the beehive oven, we saw the different artifacts for the oxen and the horses. You saw pictures of the wagons. These ideas were not just from one particular people. They were shared ideas so that this particular mission, Mission San Miguel Arcangel, could thrive and sustain itself on its own. And then you also, I'm in a really simple room. I'm in a really simple room. There's a cot over here that we would call a cot, but it's really probably his bed. And many times you sleep on hay. I know lots of people that know about sleeping on hay and how hay keeps you warm. You see simple desks in here, simple chairs, books, you see scrolls, you have a tallow candle. So life here was simple. The ornate dress and the ornate accoutrements, the chalices and the whatnot, are remnants from a time in the past to get people familiarized with the new religion, the Catholicism. But this particular mission, my point on this podcast and this YouTube is that this isn't just a cool little day trip. It's a nice day trip to find out about these are people for the people, like the whole thing, by the people, the Franciscans and the Indians. And now we're working hand in hand with the Salinan Indians to maintain the culture, to share the culture, so that you, the viewer and the listener, can find out about another great tribe in California. These are original frescoes. We heard from Teresa and Gail here at the Mission San Miguel that these are original frescoes. Remember, this is you hear that creakiness? This is original architecture. This is the mission of the untouched. It's minimally being refurbished. Look at the fresco over this side. Don't drop it. When we toured the mission, we saw the abalone shells that I mentioned earlier. You've got all these cobalt, all these different minerals that were imported and made here in California. It's just gorgeous. You have to come down here. It's a beautiful mission. Is this beautiful or what? We're capping off a great adventure. I didn't even see this coming. It's going to be panned up. The bell tower. You've got river rock and other stone matter mortared together to make this magnificent bell tower. And if we pan the camera to the right, you're going to see the wall and the other part of the structure. It's gorgeous, simply gorgeous. I don't know what else to say. I'm at a loss for words. Fantastic, awesome. You've got the moss growing here, like I've been showing you throughout our adventure. I've been showing you the original tiles, the original ceramic, the original adobe, and you can see these rocks have withstood the test of time, which I've said repeatedly. It's just a great journey. So we'll wrap it up, and we hope you had a good time. The steps go no farther than this. 6 steps, and it's locked. No luck at the bell tower, but we had a great time anyway. Beautiful. Thank you for listening and watching Paul Prada Photography on a journey. Our journey today took us to the Salinan Indian home of Mission San Miguel, the Arcangel. We learned a lot about the culture of the Native Americans and the different people that lived here, the Franciscan monks. We learned about how this mission is one of the oldest, the 16th mission, and a list of 21. The frescoes here are original. They're not retouched. You've got facsimiles out there, and you've got an original beehive oven. I need you to get yourself out on the journey, go to the trail, get out in the ocean, hit the highway, have a lot of fun, and learn about new people and the diversity that makes us a great state. Thanks.